West Adelaide took on Central District at home on Friday night, and it was an encouraging performance for the Bulldogs. They were down to 19 men after half-time, but the young side put in 4 solid quarters and notched up their second win for the season. Best on ground for the Bulldogs was Josh Coleman. Josh played a tight defensive game at full back. He's also offered run and carry from the back lines up forward. Josh had 18 disposals, 4 marks, 4 tackles and 10 rebound 50s. Bradley Bain has had a good couple of weeks for the Bulldogs. He's a consistent player who keeps the pressure on in the tackles and has the ability to find the ball and create space. Brad had 23 disposals and kicked a goal early in the second quarter. In his first appearance for the Bulldogs in the under-18s, Wayne Malira didn't mess around. He kicked his first of 4 goals just 3 minutes into the game. The under-16 from Ingle Farm Football Club was also good defensively in keeping the pressure on in the forward line. For the Bloods, Jai De Silva received another Best on Ground nomination. The captain demonstrated good leadership around the ground when his team needed him. He's come through the junior program and had 36 disposals, 6 marks and 12 clearances for the match. West Adelaide ruckman Ryan Simister dominated the centre with 57 hitouts. He's in his second season in the under-18s and has played 9 games in the reserves this year. Playing at full forward, Mitch Millen kicked 3 of the Bloods' 6 goals. He put in a good second half performance with a solid final quarter. The 18-year-old is from St John Grammar. West Adelaide couldn't stop the charge of the visitors. For the Bulldogs, it was just reward for their improved effort over the second half of the season. Central District was in front at every change and won by 35 points. It was a windy game down at Alberton when Port Adelaide and South Adelaide met in round 20. Best on ground for the Magpies and also the Maccas Cup MVP nominee was Major Lynott. Major is an 18-year-old who's determined to make an impact around the ground. His work rate has been lifting steadily throughout the season. The Magpies key forward not only had 7 shots on goal, but also found plenty of the ball to finish with 25 disposals, 10 marks and 5 inside 50s. Playing up forward and on the ball, Will Northeast was one of 4 multiple goal kickers for the Magpies. He kicked 3 goals 3, had 25 disposals and 10 clearances. Will is in his second year in the under-18s and he's played 9 games for the reserves this season. Declan Hamilton played on the ball, in the centre and in the back pocket last Saturday for the Magpies. He's a smart footballer who runs through traffic, sidestepping the opposition to set up play. The 17-year-old from Paraka kicked a late goal in the third quarter. The Panthers have had a tough season and the trend continued last weekend for the young side. Lockie Hartshorn received another nomination for Best on Ground. Lockie's in his first season for the Panthers. Last Saturday he had a disposal count of 31, the highest for the game. He also took 4 marks and had 9 clearances. The 18-year-old from Sacred Heart College is a reliable player with a long kick and a high work rate. In his second game for the Panthers in the under-18s, Jesse Moffa had 15 disposals. Jake Anderson has come through the junior program at South Adelaide. He's a second year under-18 and has played 7 games for the reserves this season. In round 20, Jake had 26 disposals, 3 marks and 8 clearances. The Panthers were only down a goal after the first change but couldn't match the intensity of the Magpies for the remainder of the game, and it was Port Adelaide by 96 points. In fairly good conditions for footy, Norwood had another win when they took on Glenelg at the parade on Saturday. Some rain fell in the first quarter but stayed away for the rest of the game. Best on ground for the Redlegs for the second week in a row was Josh Pitson. Josh is a defender who played well early in the wet conditions and continued his good form throughout the game. His skills are clean and he uses the ball well, hitting targets accurately. Josh has been promoted for his hard work and will play in the reserves this week. Captain of the state under-16 side, Matthew Nunn, was also good for the Redlegs in round 20. Matthew played in the midfield and used his agility to open up the game. He ran into holes and created opportunities. Matt had 24 disposals, 6 clearances and kicked a goal late in the first quarter, and he'll also step up to the reserves this week. Blake Hellier has played 5 games in the reserves this season and is another player for the Redlegs who will be promoted to the seniors for round 21. The overager had a competitive game in defence with 24 disposals and 11 marks. Playing against his old club, Sam Williams was an effective player on the wing. Sam was delisted by Glenelg last season and picked up by Norwood. The left footer is a tireless performer who's good with run and carry of the ball. He scored a goal midway through the second quarter. For the Tigers, Cameron McPherson was best on ground. Cam is in his first year in the under-18s and he runs onto the ground each week with a good attitude. He's a consistent player who works hard and pushes back in defence. Cam had 19 disposals and 9 clearances. Luke O'Connor is in his first year in the under-18s and has played 7 games for the Tigers, and he had 23 disposals and 6 clearances for the game. Jack McKay has only played a handful of games for the Tigers. He started the year midway through June in round 11. In his second season in the under-18s, he had 13 disposals and 5 tackles. The Tigers struggled throughout the game and couldn't match the experience and strength of Norwood, who were relentless in attack, and it was the Redlegs by 75 points. It was a top 2 clash at Woodville on Saturday when the Eagles met North Adelaide. The Eagles had the advantage of the breeze in the first quarter and kicked 4 goals 7. Best on ground for the Eagles was Paul Ventura. Paul is a good leader and has been one of their most consistent players all season. The 18-year-old from the Seaton Ramblers played in the midfield on Saturday and stepped up during the game when he needed to. Lachlan Hall opened the game strongly and was the best player for the Eagles in the first quarter. He missed last week due to concussion but was still involved in the game, running water for his teammates. In his best game this year, Lockie kept the pressure on the opposition inside the forward 50 and kicked 3 goals. It's his first year in the under-18s and he's proven to be an important player who plays to the best of his ability each week. Playing in defence for the Eagles, Dan Redden took on 2 different opponents and beat them both. Last week was the best game of the season for the overager. He had 16 disposals and 7 marks. 3 other players who stood up for the Eagles on Saturday were Michael Vissenton. Michael hasn't played too many games this year, but he put in a good performance on the wing and made some tough decisions. Max Neville is a 17-year-old small forward who kicked 3 goals 1 for the Eagles, and James Lean played across half-back and in the midfield and had a team-high 28 disposals for the game. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the Roosters only had 19 players, and halfway through the third quarter, Joe Schmidt ended up with concussion and a broken nose, which left them with no one on the bench. Best on ground for the Roosters was Liam Jacker. The left-footed winger has been good all season. He's a quick, pacey player who pushes forward up the ground. Liam had 33 disposals and kicked a goal halfway through the second quarter. Callum Wilkie has played 4 games for the Roosters in the under-18s this season. Callum played up forward and had 26 disposals for the game. He kicked a goal after taking a good contested mark inside 50. Kane Bowley is an overage player from the Mid-North who's been playing with the Roosters since his junior days. He worked hard all day in the midfield and had the highest disposal count of the game with 34. Kane played 4 games for the reserves in 2012. They sit 1 and 2 on the ladder and North Adelaide are ahead by percentage, but on Saturday the Roosters couldn't match the Eagles, who took control for most of the game and won by 25 points.